Hey folks, Cheap Prepper here. As you can tell, this is episode 6, the final episode in Roll the Dice. The topic of this episode is hybrid long-range electric vehicles. Most people wouldn't put long-range and electric vehicles in the same sentence. Well, I have a few theories of my own. I will delve into those theories momentarily. Let's just do a little explanation of current electric vehicle technology and what is on the horizon. Current, quote-unquote homebrew electric vehicles, they have a range of like 30 to like max is like 60 miles. The average like mass production run-of-the-mill electric vehicle gets a range of something like a minimum of 100 miles. I know that. I know that Tesla has a car that can go supposedly 200 miles on a full charge. They're getting there. At least they're trying. It's a lot of it is subsidized by the government and trying to get companies to get into making electric vehicles that have a decent range. There is, now I can't even think of the name of the company. But Bob Lutz, former CEO of Chevrolet, I don't know if he's the head of the company or the spokesperson for the company, but they're basically taking, they're headquartered in Mexico. I don't know why, maybe because of licensing issues, whatever. But basically they order direct from GM, basically fleet vehicles, trucks, SUVs, vans. Once they get these vehicles, they take out the engine, running gear, not all of the running gear, but like engine, transmission, stuff like that. I think they leave the electronics. I can't remember the name of it, but what they do is basically convert it into a hybrid gas-electric or diesel-electric vehicle. And the way they've engineered these things is they get like a minimum of 100 miles to the gallon. And it's incredible for the type of vehicle it is. Full-size trucks, full-size SUVs, full-size vans that get 100 miles to the gallon. And if they're running the right like economy mode or something, they can get up to, I'm really only guessing, probably like 600-700 miles to the gallon, especially if they're running like short distances. Their supposed miles per gallon range is somewhere in like, they say thousands of miles to the gallon, which that's outrageous. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, let's go back to like the quote-unquote homebrew electric vehicles, and let's start with the base of 50 mile range. In order to extend that range to meet or beat the mass-produced Tesla-type electric cars, you're going to need some kind of range-extending system. My first idea was to basically use like a V-twin motor out of a motorcycle, which motorcycles get like 50 to 60 miles to the gallon, maybe more than that. But instead of like direct drive, which would be basically retarded, No offense to retarded people. You hook that V-twin motorcycle motor up to a bank of alternators or electric motors, whichever way you want to go. And as far as I can tell from the research I've done, it takes half a foot-pound of torque to turn an alternator to the required RPM to produce the electricity of 12 volt, 60 amp, whatever that equals. Well, let's do a little math. I got my computer up and open. 12 times 60. So that's 720 watts of direct current per alternator. And I'll have to do some research on the output of the drive motor for the Teslas, but I'm sure it wouldn't take more than like 10 alternators or 10 electric motors at 12 volt, 60 amp to get an equivalent miles per gallon of, I don't know, 75, 150. I'm sure you could get a lot more out of it. You could even go with a smaller motorcycle motor, because, let's say it's 1 foot-pound of torque to get the electric motor or alternator to spin up. You're really only going to need like at most like a 30 horsepower motor. You can get that off a lawnmower. So, you're going to get pretty good gas mileage. And you could also, instead of just, hooking up a gas motor or diesel motor, whichever way you want to go, to get extended range, you could basically hook up a windmill to your car. Not like the wind farm type windmill, but it'd kind of be like a forced induction type setup where most cars, trucks nowadays have a grill in the front to let in air. Well, you're going to be running an electric vehicle, so why not use that open grill to direct air or wind flow into a turbine of sorts, that turbine could then turn a bank of alternators or electric motors, whichever, and that would extend your range probably, I'm going to say like 30 to 40%. So if you're going 50 miles on a full charge with the added wind turbine, you're probably going to get 75 miles, 80 miles maybe. So that's some interesting technology that, could have actually been utilized way before now. I was doing some research. I had do a lot of research apparently. Doing some research on electric cars and when they first came out. And electric cars have been around since just about the time of mass-produced vehicles, really. Basically, the issues between both gas vehicles and electric vehicles was gas vehicles, you had to hand crank to get started. Electric vehicles, which have always had the same problem, is range. The funny thing is that the people that were engineers for gas vehicle-based automobile companies figured out that they could use an electric motor to get the car started instead of getting out and hand cranking it, potentially breaking your arm or wrist or whatever. And, I still say I was born like 60 to 80 years too late. I could have easily come up with a way to make electric cars more viable 100 years before their time. Maybe made a lot more things more viable. But back to the electric cars. I was thinking about, or had always been thinking about for the last year or so, about taking like my range extending ideas and implementing them in a converted electric car, and possibly utilizing the technology on a mass scale. So if I could get, let's say, 200 miles a day, or 200 miles of charge, just think about how much distance is covered in a taxi in an 8-hour shift. Probably about 200 miles. So you've reduced the cost of fuel by using the gas engine as a generator instead of the drive motor, which you're going to obviously get better gas mileage using it as a generator at a steady RPM than having it run at variable RPMs. Another thing you could utilize is methane. You run your generator on methane, and you're going to get better gas mileage because it's a cleaner burning fuel. Now, if you could put all this into the vehicles formerly used as taxis, which are the Chevy Caprices, the Ford Crown Vics, the Lincoln Town cars. I think Mercury had a car like that at one point, just a big bomb of a car, kind of a rolling, like when you took one of those cars around a corner, it was going to roll, and you rolled with it. Body roll, not physical roll. But, yeah, there's some ideas for me, maybe not you guys, but keeps my brain active, keeps me thinking about stuff. Seeing how this is, the last episode of this series, I'm going to have to come up with new ideas, because I've killed anywhere between 8 and 16 minutes on each episode. So, like I said in, episode 3, if you guys have any comments or topic suggestions, I'd like to hear them. I guess until next time, God bless you and yours.